Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
So, on our Listener's Choice feature today, we're talking about dreams. Actually, an interesting follow-up from what we were discussing in the previous hour. Listener's Choice, as some of you may know, is an opportunity for you to co-curate the content of the show with us. So you can tell us what you want us to talk about. So any subject, any topic, anything that you want us to talk about, or maybe any expert, any guest that you want us to have on the show to talk about something in particular, just suggest it to us, and then we'll find one of the Wednesdays, we'll slot it there. You can send us an email on cm@702.co.za. One of our listeners has asked that we invite an expert who can help us understand why we dream, who can help us understand what happens to the mind while we're asleep. So we've invited Dr. Luke Krige, who is a pulmonologist and director of SA Sleep Labs. In fact, we've had Dr. Krige on the show before, and he has helped us understand a lot about sleep. And I'm glad that we've got him back now. So if you've got questions about dreams, you can give us a call on 011-883-0702, or you can send us a WhatsApp on 0727021702. Dr. Krige, welcome back to the show. Good morning. Hi, Dr. Krige.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you for making time. How are you?
No, I'm fine, but how are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right as well. As you know, every time we talk about sleep or we talk about dreams, there's lots of calls that we receive from our listeners. So I want us to actually make sure much of the time we're going to spend with you is taking calls and questions from our listeners about dreams. Let's maybe start off with just some foundation. What stage of sleep actually allows us to dream?
All right. So there are, we normally divide sleep into stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and REM sleep. That's REM sleep. We do 97% of our dreaming occurs in REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. That when we get into that stage of sleep, we are basically paralyzed. We can't move, but our eyes move a lot. And the EEG, which is the way that we measure brain activity, is very fast. It's as if we are awake. So REM sleep, your eyes move a lot, you're paralyzed, and your EEG is as if you are awake. But that is the time that we do dreaming. We don't really dream in the other stages.
So do the changes then in breathing patterns during sleep affect the way that we dream or how vividly we remember our dreams?
Not really. You know, what you basically alluding to is obstructive sleep apnea, where we stop breathing or we have difficulty. It doesn't really affect our dreams, although the patients do say when they suffer from sleep apnea, they have very vivid dreams, and if we treat them, then the vivid dreams seem to go away. So there is a bit of a relationship, but we're not exactly sure why that relationship exists.
Okay, so from your work in sleep research, what have you learned about how the brain actually processes our thoughts, our emotions, and our memories while we are dreaming?
Okay, let's just start that dreaming really only takes place in REM sleep, as I've said. The exact reason why we dream, we don't really know. Dreams were originally Sigmund Freud, the psychoanalyst. He was the guy that really started talking about dreams, and he had a lot of ideas. None of them have been proven. The only proven things that we know about dreams at the moment is that they do play a role in like anxiety or say PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
If you dream after an acute event, after a bad episode of something, and you dream after that, the PTSD gets better. If you don't dream, the PTSD remains. So obviously dreaming does have some effect on anxiety, and we feel that it decreases the emotions that are related to that bad event. So that if you dream after the bad event, you're not going to suffer so badly from PTSD. If you don't dream, your PTSD is worse. So we know that dreaming has an effect on the emotion. The other important thing that we do know about it is that during REM sleep, and particularly with dreaming, you do create memories. It's called consolidation of memory. So that if something happens to you during the day, during your REM sleep, that memory is consolidated.
Okay.
So those are the two things that we definitely know about dreaming.
Okay, it's going up to 15 minutes now after 11 o'clock. I want to give the listeners now the opportunity to ask you questions, Dr. Krige. We are talking about dreams this morning. One of our listeners asked that we bring in an expert in the medical field who can share with us maybe some information and research about why we dream. And of course, there are no exact reasons yet for dreaming, as Dr. Krige says. That's still being debated, but it's clear that dreams are quite a complex process that involves brain activity, that involves memory consolidation, as Dr. Krige says, and potentially emotional processing, and all of this contributes to our well-being and mental health. So what questions do you have? 011-883-0702, WhatsApp's on 0727021702. We'll be back after this.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers
Listener's choice.
with Clement Manyathela.
18 minutes now after 11 o'clock, we are speaking to Dr. Luke Krige, who's a pulmonologist and director of SA Sleep Labs. We are talking about dreams. Do you have questions about dreams? And this is, of course, from a medical perspective. Why do we dream? What happens to our mind while we dream? My biggest question has always been, why are some of us forgetting our dreams? Because I've been forgetting a lot of my dreams in recent times. And I'm often confused, like why that is the case. And some of them I can feel they were so significant, but sometimes I just simply don't remember what I dreamt of. Your calls on 011-883-0702, WhatsApp's on 0727021702.
Good morning, Clement and the team. You know, it's funny that we're talking about dreams. So this morning, I actually just called my mom to tell her that I think I had a dream about my grandmother. Thing is, I just never ever remember my dreams precisely, but they always feel somewhat real. So I just told her that, listen, I had a dream about my grandmother. I think I need to see her, you know, irrespective of how the family feels about her, but I think it's time to see her. My question is, when we do dream about people, is that a time and place to pray for them or just go see them, or is it just a normal dream? Because usually when I do have dreams, it's either I need to see the person or I need to pray over it or for protection, you know, so yeah.
Dr. Krige, you can come in there, and of course you can indicate if some of the questions are more spiritual, but the one question I had myself is about forgetting the dreams, and this listener touches on that as well, and also speaks of when you dream specifically of people, because there are people who say, I dreamed of this person when I went to check them and I realized they were actually in danger, or I needed to see them in that moment. There's often that correlation.
That is definitely correct. I mean, one can't talk that one away. we have all had experiences where we dream about someone and then we phone them or we contact them and then we realize that was the right thing to do because they were in trouble. How exactly that happens, there is no scientific explanation for that. I just think that you've been thinking a lot about them and then you've dreamt about them. But why it occurs, I don't have an answer. No one has an answer. But it definitely does happen. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that we don't always remember our dreams. I mean, there are some people who say they don't dream at all, but that's incorrect. They do actually dream. They're just not remembering it. And others remember their dreams better. So it's very variable. I can't give you a scientific reason why that occurs. But I think that if you dream about someone, it would be a good idea to give them a call or go and see them or do something. And I think that listener should definitely go and visit her granny.
Hi, Clement. I would want to ask the doctor, who makes the dream? How does the dream come up? Is it something spiritual? Is it what I do that determines the dream? But what if, in the case of like you are dreaming lion chasing you, what's the relationship between the dream and brain? Unknown. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there a correlation there, Dr. Krige? Because often some of the things we experience, somehow they get reflected in our dreams in some way or the other.
Definitely so. It's not always so. Not all dreams are related to something that happened, but I can't put a percentage on it, but a large proportion of dreams are related to an event that happened. Something happened, and then you dream about it. There are lots of theories as to why that is. Some of the research shows that maybe you processing that whole event, and that you are processing so that should it occur again, you will know what to do or what not to do. It's like a protective mechanism.
I've got a question here about nightmares. Is there any link between disrupted breathing and the experience of nightmares or night terrors?
Okay, I think we must just talk. Nightmares are not night terrors. Night terrors occur in children, and they will wake up and be very scared and petrified of what's going on, and they'll go back to sleep and wake up in the morning and not remember anything about it. So night terrors occur in children, and they don't remember anything about it.
Okay.
Nightmares occur in REM sleep when dreams take place, and it is a dreaming. A nightmare is a bad dream. They don't seem to be able to correlate it with something, but lots of people will say, I had a nightmare about, say, a lion chasing me, and then if you ask more, they had in fact spent the day at the zoo. You know, something. So there is some relationship between an event and a nightmare. It's not very, it's not strong relationship, but yes, you were exposed to something, and that night you will have a nightmare about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clement and the guest, that's so Gunjani lapho. I would like to know, man, because me, most of the time, I don't dream, like a dream, like if I can dream, I won't remember that dream like tomorrow, but the only dream that I remember is the one which I created. So I don't know if it's a dream or it's an imagination, because I have the dreams which I can see and control the outcomes of those dreams. So what is it? What makes it like that?
Okay, you are very exceptional, because there are some people like you, and they call it lucid dreaming, that you can actually dictate what you are going to dream. Now, there are not many people that can do that, but there are some, and you obviously are one of them, that has lucid dreams, that I will decide I'm going to dream about that. You will then go to sleep and you will actually dream about it. So you are an exception, and you are called a lucid, Lucid, dreamer. You're a lucid dreamer.
Okay.
Good morning, Clement, Mr. Manyathela. It's a pleasure to be on this show one more time. And always really a pleasure to be listening to informative and profound discussions. With regard to dreaming, I dream very less. I'm a 67-year-old man. I dream very less, and if I do dream, I hardly remember a thing. If I do remember anything at all, it would only be a portion of the dream, which, as far as I'm concerned, will usually not even make any sense. I don't have any dream at all. What does that mean? And ever since, I'm definitely not a dreamer. I don't know why. I wish. Yeah. Thanks for the show. Please ask the specialist. And it's Mandla Matope from Beggersdal in Western area. I thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah, Mandla, thank you so much for that. Dr. Krige did touch on that a little earlier on. If you want to repeat some of it, Dr. Krige, I'll give you an opportunity to do. Yeah, let me just take Dingani first in Randburg. Dingani, what's your question? Hi.
Hi, Wadi Major.
Sure.
I just wanted to know, because I seem to experience some correlation. Every time I've taken in a lot of caffeine, I experience a lot of nightmares. Whether caffeine intake in itself leads to nightmares, because I do know that if you take caffeine, you can't sleep, you have active brain. But every time I take caffeine in the evening, especially coffee, I struggle to sleep, but that struggling to sleep manifests itself in nightmares.
Okay. All right. Dingani, thank you for that. Is there a correlation, Dr. Krige? Nightmares and a lot of caffeine intake?
Definitely so. Definitely so. I before I get to that, I just wanted to tell Manda that he is completely normal. 80% of people don't remember their dreams, or only remember part of it. So he's not abnormal. He's very normal. There's nothing the matter with him. Okay? And what happens with caffeine and dreaming is that caffeine, there's a chemical in the body that keeps you, that puts you to sleep. And caffeine blocks that. So that's why you remain awake after drinking coffee or any caffeinated products. However, you don't, with having taken caffeine, you don't have a very good restful sleep. It's a disturbed sleep, and that may precipitate nightmares. So definitely you're not getting a normal sleep, because the caffeine is kind of half keeping you awake.
Okay.
And that's why you're getting the nightmares.
Hi, Clement. Can you please ask your guest if there is anything about dreams that can indicate a health issue, or like a health issue that should be of some concern? This is Titi.
No, there's nothing that we know about that. Dreaming is normal, so it's not indicative of something going on or something serious. No, it's not indicative of a disease.
Someone asking, if you're facing up, does that often lead to bad dreams? Like, is it also dependent on how you sleep?
Yes, when you face up, you are more likely to have sleep apnea, and sleep apnea disrupts your normal sleep pattern. And as with caffeine, a disruption of a normal sleep pattern leads to kind of nightmares. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Luke Krige, thank you so much for coming through. There's simply so many questions we can't get to, but we've tried to get you to answer as many as we can. Dr. Krige is a sleep specialist from South African Sleep Laboratory. What we'll do on part 2 of this conversation, we'll also bring in the African and spiritual element to dreams, so you can ask questions as well about dreams from that spiritual perspective. It's 11:31.